Hello everybody, and welcome back to the third video of the Kriegsspiel that we're lucky enough to be involved with AAL Games and Mr. Hethwell. Following Hethwell's release of an umpire video which showed the situation at present, we thought that it would be a good idea for us to release a video as well. But I'll tell you now, watch Hethwell's video now, pause this one, go find his link in the description, give it a like, show him your support, whatever you're doing, and see that first. He goes into some great detail there. So, time is 12 noon. The game has been paused, and the umpire has said that people are allowed to discuss what they see on the table and the plan going forward, which is nice of him. You know, it's good. How that will affect orders remains to be seen. But it's a nice thing to allow a little bit of a break and allow people to talk normally again. So yeah, it's 12 noon. What is the situation at present? Well, before I get into that, we'll talk about our previous videos that we did. If you watch those, go back and refresh your memory, maybe, if needs be. But the first video that we made, that was at 10 o'clock. That was when we joined the game. That was when we found out who we were, and we did ourselves a rough plan of what we knew, what we thought we knew, and what we thought would like to happen. Next video was at 10:30. That we did. We changed the plans ever so slightly, and we had fun with that one, and we still had a little moan about stuff that we didn't know still after half an hour of starting. But we're here now at 12 o'clock. What's happened with my corps? Well, the fog that we mentioned in the 10:30 video, apparently it affected our movement a little bit. We were a little bit ginger on, a little bit soft as we were marching down the road to Goito, to the field of battle, and we arrived ever so slightly late. We arrived, the first bit of the column got here at 11:15. So it's taken them 45 minutes to get from this end to, well, I mean, it's the cavalry of this division, but I mean, you could imagine that, yeah, it's taken them 45 minutes to get that far. Yeah, so what has been going on? So yeah, we got on the field at 11:15. Just after the two armies actually spotted each other at 11. So the umpire sent us a little message. Says that the two armies spotted each other. I presume it would have been probably over here somewhere. And at 11:15 we had a little bit of a cavalry standoff outside Volta. And at the same time we arrived, and then there was a bit of a standoff for about 20 minutes as cavalry faced off with one another. There was a little tweet from Hethwell about that one. We were wondering what was going to happen there, and then we heard nothing. And at 11:42 we heard cannon fire. Now, I thought that this might have been maybe a signal of some sort. The umpire said it was cannon fire. It didn't say how many booms. It didn't say if it was just continuous. It didn't say it was a single one. So we presumed one or the other. It could have been just one shot, or it could have been, continuous. So we march into the sound of the guns now, and at the same time as we heard that, the 4th Division got on the field. So what you're seeing now is basically a rough representation of what I saw from Hethwill's video. We won't cheat. We'll just kind of say that considering this is the 2nd Division under Royer, his cavalry probably would see at least some units of the French units to their forward left, and presumably they might see a couple of flags from Verdier's division. But judging from Hethwill's video, this is a rough depiction of where people might be. So yeah, moving forward, situation at present. Well, if you saw the last video, you'll know that we changed the orders for the 2nd Division. But funny enough, it turns out that for one reason or another, the 2nd Division didn't get that change of orders. So, the 2nd Division is still looking to capture that hill. So, I think I know what happened, because yesterday the gentleman leading the 2nd Division told us that the 12 noon announcement and the whole kind of pause game and link to Hethwill's video was sent to his junk email box. It happens, I suppose. So that's probably why he didn't get that. But we'll say that whatever dispatch officer was dealing with that has been thrown back into the ranks. Because I mean, how can you lose the Royer? He was at the head of the column. Just go forward. You'll find him, even in the fog. So yeah, that's the situation at present. Looks like the 2nd Division is going to occupy the hill. Maybe we'll talk about what we might want to do with them in a few minutes. But the situation at present, judging from Hethwill's video, is that Cornell's division, under the supervision of our Supreme Commander, has marched to Volta. Good idea. Taken up position. He's got some cavalry behind the town, blocking the approach of the Austrian cavalry on their right. Got the flank anchored, which is quite nice. If they did try and come down here, it would probably be a bit of a bloodbath. A bit of a royal rumble if they try to do that. Although I am personally worried if the cavalry decides to come, although they're anchored on the flank with the buildings. I probably would have liked to see some infantry billeted in some of these buildings, because it seems to me like that this is a pretty precarious position to be in if you've got your. I mean, although if they did see them charging, I suppose they could probably cover, but I mean, it seems a bit risky to me. So they've got the Demi Brigade in the centre. Again, I think that's a bit too light for me. I probably would have wanted some more men in the centre. So But judging from the map, it seems like this is continuous artillery fire. The Austrian division under Flacker doesn't seem to have any artillery support, which goes in the favour of the French, I suppose. Very nice defensive position, but I am worried. I am worried that if they charge those guns, there won't be much to offer any resistance back, at least a quick kind of reaction. So we've got Campy's brigade here, trying to maybe stretch out the right flank. Maybe he'll bring up Forest A as some kind of reserve, stretch them out. We don't know. We'll have to see how that pans out. But judging from what we saw, looks like the guns are doing their work on Flacker's division here. Yes, moving over, it would appear that Radovich is bringing his division with Bogdan and Stefanini to try and support. Now, why would the army commander want to come down and offer his support down in Volta and be almost blinkered by the situation down here is slightly questionable, I would say, to be so blinkered as to, I mean, I'd probably want to sit on the hill, so at least I could watch both. I mean, having been the head of the army, but I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, perhaps. But it looks like they're coming to reinforce Flacker here. The French will be outnumbered, although with a slight advantage of artillery support. What we might want to do is bring the cavalry down, limber it up, bring it quickly down, and plonk it on the right here to maybe offer some kind of further artillery support, an extra battery, or, and this is probably my preference, in addendum to it, would be to maybe offer our advice to Eugene, tell him to stick a couple of infantry regiments in the town, bring the cavalry over, join it up with ours, ride as fast as we can, and see if we can't hit this column. It looks like they'll probably join up with Flacker, but if we could maybe disrupt them in some way, do a daring first cavalry charge, trying to inflict some damage, as well as kind of some moral damage to that army, and to the players as well for seeing such a brash move. It might be fun. It might give us something to shout about. But that's the situation as I see it at Volta. Obviously, we'll have the 4th Brigade, 4th Division rather, continue marching, but they're probably not going to get there for another hour. We'll have to kind of reissue the orders to the 2nd, but I mean, it might have worked in our favour in a little way if they're trying to go up the hill, because if we march down this road, we're just going to bump into the arse of Quinnell's division. There's not enough room to manoeuvre, and if they get pushed back in any form, we'll have a bit of a bottleneck, bit of a shit show. going on. So yeah, there's that to think about. But you know, I think it's going to be a bloodbath around Volta, whatever happens. Verdier. We found out where Verdier is in the end. This is a rough position as I saw it from Hethwill's video again. He's a bit light, isn't he? He's faced up against Merville here on the hill, although I don't think Merville would be able to offer much of a resistance, bar the artillery support that he has. Quite overwhelming artillery support for the men that he has on the hill here. You know, he's got his cav. I think there might be dragoons, and he's got his grenadiers. I think it was Stutterheim. Is that the Grenadier division? Stutterheim. Yes, Grenadiers. So that's probably their best infantry. I would hazard a guess if they're Grenadiers. You know, knowing what we know, hazarded a guess. That's probably their best infantry. So I don't think he'll be able to offer much resistance because, as we saw on the video, and I didn't put them all in, but the other corps, the other Austrian corps, is marching down this road. They probably arrived at around the same time as we did. So give it another hour, maybe even an hour and a half, they'll be offering up battle to Verdier. So Verdier either has to push, which I wouldn't advise because of the cannons, or kind of set up some. I mean, he does have skirmishers plotted around the place, but I would say he tries to hold, just kind of offer some kind of distraction. Whether this extra corps here, it's a lot of men, whether they'll come after Verdier and then you'll have to offer some kind of fighting retreat. I would hazard a guess that he would, because that's what I would do if I was in charge of this corps. I'd just go smashing. I mean, he can't offer much resistance. So going forward, what do I intend to do? Well, the Italian divisions, the rear of the corps, I've suggested to the other players that I offer these. Again, I hinted at it at the last video. Maybe I'm blinkered myself. Handing over the Italian divisions to Verdier, offering him some kind of extra reserve to make him bolster his forces and see if he can't hold against these this new corps coming in. We're not actually sure of the Austrian battle plan, but I guess that, you know, it's to hold the hill and maybe even go after Volta. I'm not entirely sure, but they've definitely, yeah, they're definitely going to smash in. They have to. So yeah, my plan is to give the Italian divisions over to Verdier, and then just offer the 2nd and the 4th to come through, fight it out in Volta, support the Quesnel and Eugene over here, and just deal with it that way. Yeah, we'll have to maybe send the 2nd to extend the right here, just anchor the flank, fight it out in the hills, or well, not the hills, the fields. We should be able to batter them because they don't have any kind of artillery support. And so long as we act as quick as we can, this is all we're going to be fighting. Verdier's going to have to really be the MVP and pull it out of the bag. But yeah, so that's what I would like to see to happen. Swing the cavalry round, bring my cavalry up, unlimber the artillery, try and get the seconds to reorganise, come down the hill, maybe even march a couple up the roads at the head of the 4th. But it's probably going to be another hour until we get where we need to go. And if this game's anything to go by, a lot can change. I did mention that the last thing that we really were clear about, even in game wise, was the cavalry standoff around Volta. We were not aware that Cornell was himself at Volta. We just thought he sent some cavalry round, and to have been met by Flacker's division, it's quite surprising in some ways, but unsurprising in others, because yeah, I mean that's probably what I would have done as the Austrians as well. So yeah, what do you think? Apologies, in the last 2 videos I posted them and I wasn't aware that the comments were actually turned off, but we'll keep them on this time. Obviously, just offer your thoughts. See you on the next one. Take it easy.